What's up guys, Brandon Johnson here again, and thanks for joining me. Well, you might wonder why I'm holding a pair of drumsticks right now. And actually the drums were my first instrument. I started on the drums and then I came to the guitar. And one great exercise on drums is called a paradiddle. So if you don't know, a paradiddle is where you alternate strokes between your right hand and your left hand in a very specific pattern. And that pattern is right, left, right, right. Okay, so that's a single paradiddle. And you can also start with your left hand and go left, right, left, left. So that's one of the classic drum exercises, and it's meant to be an exercise in timing and dexterity. So I thought to myself, is there any way that you could transfer the concept of the paradiddle to the guitar? And I came up with these 4 cross-picking exercises that are based on the drum paradiddle. And what we did here is, instead of your right hand and your left hand, we're going to do upstrokes and downstrokes. So a paradiddle in this lesson is going to be a down, up, down, down. We can also do an up, down, up, up. So we're going to start from very, very simple, one note, just the 3rd fret A, which is going to be the root note of the C chord. And we're going to build up in difficulty a little bit here over these 4 exercises. And the very last one is going to be the most challenging one. And also try these out over different chords and different tempos as well, and see if you can build your speed and just kind of build your overall dexterity with your right hand. So I hope you enjoy this one, and let's check it out. All right, let's take a look at this paradiddle exercise now. So we're going to transpose that drumming concept of the paradiddle to the guitar. So what we're going to do is instead of right hand and left hand, we're going to do upstrokes and downstrokes. So let's just take a look at a really simple example here of a paradiddle on one single string. And we're going to be playing this over a C major chord. And we're just going to start on the root note of the C major chord, which is the 3rd fret A. And we're just going to play a simple paradiddle. So what this is going to be is it's going to be a downstroke, an upstroke, and 2 downstrokes. Okay, so you see the first 4 notes of the tab there in measure number 1. It's going to be a down, up, down, down. So that's an example of a single string, single note paradiddle. And this is a good warm-up exercise for, if you're just going to start picking for the day, or if you have a show coming up and you want to get warmed up, this is a really good way to get your right hand moving, get the blood flowing here. So the first 4 notes there are going to be one single paradiddle. And then we're going to do the same pattern, but we're going to reverse it for the next 4 notes. So we're going to start on an upstroke, go to a downstroke, and then play 2 upstrokes. So what you've got there in the first half of this measure is kind of a double paradiddle, right? So we're going to start on a downstroke, and let's play all 8 of these notes in a row. Okay, so that's an example of a paradiddle on one string. And of course you'll see there we have this going for the entire measure. So we have 8 16th notes and then 8 16th notes again of the same pattern. So let's try to play all of measure number 1 now, nice and slow. Okay, just try to go for a nice even tone and a nice even volume on your notes. And really what we're doing here is we're training our right hand. We're improving our dexterity. Okay, so now let's try to play this paradiddle exercise on one string. And we're going to try it at a really slow tempo here, 40 BPMs. And every time you hear a click of the metronome, you're going to reverse the pick direction and start the paradiddle over again. So each quarter note, we're actually going to alternate between a downstroke and an upstroke paradiddle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let's play that same exercise. We're going to play it a little bit faster now with the metronome at 60 BPMs. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now let's increase the difficulty a little bit here, and we're going to stick with the C major chord shape. And we're going to play this exact same paradiddle pattern with our right hand, except we're going to play it over the A string and the D string while we're holding the C major chord. So that's going to be your 3rd fret A, your 2nd fret D, your 3rd fret A, and your 3rd fret A. So that's going to be your paradiddle, and it's going to be the exact same picking pattern. So for each quarter note, we're going to switch from a downstroke paradiddle to an upstroke paradiddle. Okay, so you can see it's the exact same paradiddle pattern, right? Down, up, down, down, up, down, up, up. But now we're just doing it over 2 strings. So technically we're not really cross-picking yet because we haven't crossed over any strings, but we're going to be getting to that in the next 2 examples. So again, like the first measure, the second measure here, the first 8 notes are the same as the second 8 16th notes. And a lot of times in bluegrass, especially with bluegrass tunes and fiddle tunes, you're going to be playing a lot of 16th notes. So let's try this pattern now to the metronome. We're going to start out again really slow at 40 BPMs. And each time you hear the metronome, you're going to switch from a downstroke paradiddle to an upstroke paradiddle. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's increase the difficulty level a little bit here. But in this example here, you'll see, again, we're holding just the C major chord shape. And we're going to play the 3rd fret A to open G. Again, it's the same paradiddle pattern. And this time we're going to be just skipping between the 3rd fret A and the open G. And make sure you're holding your C major chord shape there because it's good practice to kind of learn how to cross-pick over different chords. So once you get these patterns down with your right hand, you can experiment with other chord shapes like G, D, A, whatever you want. So for this one, again, we're going to be doing the same cross-picking pattern. On all 4 of these examples, we're starting on a downstroke, and then we're alternating. Each quarter note, we're going to alternate to an upstroke. In this example here, we're going to be going 3rd fret A, again, the root note, and all of these examples are going to start on the root note. Open G on an upstroke, and then 3rd fret A on a downstroke. And then again, the second quarter note there, we're going to be starting on an open G, on an upstroke, and then playing a downstroke, followed by 2 upstrokes on the open G. Okay, so the first 8 notes here are going to sound like this. And again, the second half of this measure is going to be the same as the first half. And again, focus on nice even spacing between the notes, a nice even attack and tempo. So let's play pattern number 3 now to the metronome. Again, we're going to start at 40 BPMs, and we're going to work our way up to 60 BPMs. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's really challenge ourselves now. We're going to play the same C major chord shape in the same paradiddle pattern, down, up, down, down, up, up. But we're going to be playing a little bit more intricate of a cross-picking pattern here. Now, don't let all these notes throw you off, right? I mean, all we're really doing is we're holding with our left hand a C major chord. And what we're working on here is we're working on our right hand dexterity. We're working on being able to jump around and play upstrokes, downstrokes, double ups, and double downs. And that's something that you may not necessarily play in a live setting exactly like this, but it's a great warm-up exercise. So just like the previous three patterns here, we're going to be starting on the root note of the C major chord, the 3rd fret A, on a downstroke. And then we're going to go to this open G on an upstroke. Remember, we're playing that same paradiddle pattern. And then we're going to play a downstroke, 2 downstrokes, on the 2nd fret D. And then you're going to see 1st fret B on an upstroke. So that's going to be our 2nd quarter note. And then we're going to jump down to the 3rd fret A again on a downstroke, followed by 2 upstrokes on the open G. Right, so that 2nd quarter note is going to be 1, 3, and open G. Okay, so the first half of that measure. And then from there, we're going to start the paradiddle pattern over again. We're going to start on a downstroke, but this time we're going to start on the 2nd fret D on a downstroke, to 1st fret B, and then back to the root on a double down. You can see we're really jumping all around the fretboard here. And then the very last quarter note is going to be an upstroke again. And we're going to do the upstroke on the open G to 2nd fret D, and then our double up is going to be on the 1st fret B. Okay, so that's going to be... Okay, so the second half of that measure, we're going to start on a 2nd fret D, open G, okay, so let's try to connect all these together. So you want to be thinking about alternating your downstrokes and your upstrokes each quarter note. That's a good thing to think about. But let's just go through this real slow here without the metronome. All right, so that's a great cross-picking pattern that you can use as a warm-up. It's a little bit more intricate and a little bit more difficult. So practice the previous ones first, and then come back to this one. Another great thing to do here is to try to play these measures on a loop, right? So you'd play, for example, measure number 4. Let's try to play it back to back. Right, so what you've done there in that one measure, what we have is you have every possible combination of strokes on every string of the C major chord. So you have a downstroke on the root, you have an upstroke on the open G, you have a double down on the 2nd fret D, and so on. You have every possible combination of downstrokes, upstrokes, double downs, and double ups. So let's play measure number 4 now to the metronome, real slow like we did before. Just at 40 BPMs, we're going to play it. I mean, keep in mind, these are 16th notes that we're playing over a quarter note metronome. Okay, so the metronome sounds really slow, and that's good because it's going to give you good feel. You're not going to rely so much on the metronome for the spacing of these notes. You're going to develop a good feel for the tempo, which is kind of what the paradiddle is about in drumming. And it's also, that's why this is a good exercise for guitar too. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4.